Even without the help of the system, Quinn could tell the student was obviously hiding his ability. "Come on, what happened to your—" The other student taunted him. "You seem to be playing with them behind your back," Quinn replied. The student shouted and came charging forward. Quickly, he slashed his hand out at Quinn. Luckily, Quinn's increased stats allowed him to lift his arm in time to block the attack. Quinn cursed. HP 8 of 10. Quinn looked at the student, who now had his hands out in view. It appeared that the bully had a transformation ability, yet it seemed to be a weak one, limited to only his hands. The ability had changed his hands to tiger claws and had hardened his nails. Quinn knew that the nails were sharper than they looked. Suddenly, everything became a little bit more serious for Quinn. The stinging pain he felt on his arm was real. The game-like system had caused him to take things a little too easy. But his pain quickly reminded him that this wasn't a game. He was unsure if he would faint after 4 more hits or if something worse would happen, but he had no intention of finding out any time soon. The student started to charge at Quinn once again with his claw-like hands. The student maneuvered his way around Quinn, moving quicker than he looked. HP 6 of 10. "Shut up, I know!" Quinn shouted as he lifted the student using both of his hands by the legs. How did Quinn manage to pick him up like that? Peter wondered. They're roughly the same size and ease. Does he really not have an ability, or did he hide it for some reason? Quinn didn't stop there, though. It was important to teach this a lesson, otherwise they would just come back for more. Quinn needed to scare him from ever trying to mess with him again. He ran up to the student who was still lying on the floor. "First fight has been completed. 50 EXP received. 70 of 100 EXP. "Is he—" Peter asked, slightly worried. As if on cue, the student started coughing out some more. "If he attacks you again, he's going to wish he was," Quinn stated with conviction. He was actually quite relieved. He had no idea how the academy might punish him for their student. Fortunately, his system had rewarded him the experience points. Then suddenly another message appeared before his eyes. "Additional quest reward. Skill unlocked. Level 1 inspect." Excitement started to fill Quinn's mind as he had finally received his first skill. Quinn was hoping that maybe this would help him figure out what type of ability he had received, but the name of it didn't sound too promising. Inspect? So maybe it can tell me the weaknesses of my opponents? Quinn assumed. Quinn then decided to test his new skill and looked at Peter, who was standing next to him. Unfortunately, Quinn had no idea how to use his skill, but the moment he started thinking about the skill, it had activated on its own, and a screen appeared right next to Peter. Name, Peter Chuck. Race, human. Ability, none. HP, 3 of 5. Blood type, A+. Quinn was shocked, but he was also pleased. The skill seemed to work just by thinking about it. He read through the information that had been given to him, unhappy with the blanked-out sections. He assumed it was due to the skill only being at level 1, but still, the information it did give him was quite handy. It told Quinn what type of ability someone else had, which would be very useful in a fight. The same was true for how much health another party had. However, there was one bit of information that Quinn found very strange, and that was the blood type. It was weird for the system to give him information about such a specific thing, and Quinn also wondered how on earth this would ever help him in the future. Quinn then went up to the student who continued to lie on the floor and used his new skill on him as well. Name, Kyle Main. Race, human. Ability, transformation. HP, 1 of 8. Blood type, B negative. Quinn, I think we better go. Go before someone comes along, Peter told his friend. Quinn ignored him for the time being. He wanted to find out as much as he could, and who knew when he would get the opportunity otherwise. Checking the status of Kyle allowed Quinn to learn a few new things. The information he was given about the ability of the target was not very specific. There were hundreds of different transformation abilities. The other thing was the HP. It looked like for his victory, he only needed to bring down the student's HP to 1, but Quinn still didn't know if 0 equaled death or not. It could also just mean the person had been knocked out. Right after inspecting Kyle, Quinn received yet another notification. You have received an optional quest. Drink the of your victim to absorb a stat point. What the— is this thing crazy? Quinn thought. Even if he would gain a stat point, there was no way he was going to drink someone else's. The very idea of it made Quinn feel sick. Still, he felt magically drawn to the red liquid. Maybe a little bit wouldn't hurt. No, I shouldn't do it. You're going crazy, Quinn. Stop it! Quinn! Peter called again, only this time he shouted at his friend. Yeah, you're right. The two of them continued to walk down the hallway, but while doing so, Peter noticed that Quinn kept turning his head to look at Kyle on the floor. He must be worried about him. Although he is a mean fighter, seems like Quinn's a nice guy after all, Peter thought as he smiled. If only he knew that Quinn was actually still debating whether to go back and try a bit of the after all. As the two continued to walk down the hallway, Quinn started to feel a strange surge through his body. Hey, let's go to the doctor. I'm sure the military must have a healer who can patch that up, Peter suggested, his eyes focused on the cut on Quinn's hand. Good idea, Quinn agreed. You don't have to come with me. I can reach there on my own. It will be a busy day tomorrow, so why don't you head back to the dorm? Although Peter was worried about Quinn, Peter didn't want to stick in the halls for much longer where other students were able to see him. He also had an irrational fear that someone would link them with the injured boy down the hallway. Quinn read the hesitation on Peter's face. Look, don't worry, I'll be fine. I appreciate you looking out for me, Quinn encouraged. It was a strange thing to say, given that he was the one that had gotten injured while saving Peter. He could see the puzzlement on Peter's face, so he gave him an encouraging push towards their room. With that, Peter quickly rushed off and headed back to the dorms, making sure to cover up his wristwatch most of the time as well. He didn't want to stumble into another bully. Quinn, on the other hand, immediately rushed to the nearest boys' toilet just down the hall. When he entered the toilet, his eyes went to his arm, where Kyle's claws had left an ugly cut. Quinn examined his hand closely. Something strange was happening. He could literally watch his arm healing in real time. Though it looked slow, in reality it was incredibly fast. For someone to be able to actually witness his skin scabbing over and healing was an amazing sight. Quinn had actually felt something strange happening to his body when he was talking to Peter. It was the reason why he had insisted on Peter leaving him alone. If Peter had watched his wound heal, Peter would know for sure that he had an ability, if he did not already suspect that. Quinn waited a few minutes and opened up his status screen. It was as he thought. His HP slowly regained as well. HP 8 of 10. Eventually the wound on his arm and back had healed completely and only the rips on his shirt were left. HP 10 of 10. Your HP has recovered. Your hunger has grown. Does this mean the system uses food to heal my wounds? I guess it makes sense. The energy has to come from somewhere. Quinn thought as he felt himself getting hungry. It was as if he had just missed breakfast or something. When Quinn had the chance, he would get a quick bite to eat. Before Quinn headed back to the dorms, there was one more thing he wanted to do. He wanted to get back to the training room that they had been shown while touring the school. It was getting late, and the students had an early start in the morning, so most of the students had already returned to their dorms. This meant it was the perfect chance for Quinn to head to the training room without anyone seeing him. He finally reached the training room in the academy, a large oval dome-like building with a huge empty space in the middle. At the edges of the room were rows and rows of technological equipment. There were giant mech robots, shooting targets, and things Quinn had no idea what they even did. Still, he hadn't come for those. No, the one thing he was interested in was the power-level testing equipment. Inside the training center, Quinn had also spotted the same machinery that had been used at the testing field. When Quinn entered, the room was unsurprisingly empty. Slowly he made his way over to the testing equipment, while walking past all the other sorts of machinery, and finally he stopped just in front of the drum-like level testing machine. It was the same type of model as the one they had used out in the field to test their strength. Unbeknownst to Quinn, Layla had also snuck to the training room before Quinn had entered. She had come to test out her bow and arrow skills. She always practiced at night when she was nervous, and she couldn't help but worry about tomorrow. When she heard the doors to the training room opening, she immediately hid behind one of the giant robots. Suddenly she saw the student walk over in her direction. Then she noticed something. Isn't that the boy I took the test with? If I remember correctly, he had no ability. Layla recognized him, although she could not recall his name. Layla continued to watch Quinn as he approached the large drum. "Let's see," Quinn said to himself as he circled his right arm to warm it up. He swung his fist back and prepared to hit the drum as hard as possible. When he punched the drum, a number appeared on the drum and slowly started to rise until it eventually stopped at 10. "Seems like I was on the mark," Quinn exclaimed happily. He had come to test his theory about his status screen stats, matching the equipment the school used, and he was seemingly right. Layla, who had been watching from behind one of the robots, also noticed Quinn's new score. Confused and curious, she decided she wanted to find out more about this mysterious student and would stay hidden to learn more. Quinn then went to the hologram spike machine. Last time Quinn managed to last 10 seconds against the machine before it got too fast for him to dodge the attacks. Since his stats were no longer halved, he figured he would last longer this time. Quinn started the test, weaving and dodging through the spikes. Unlike out in the fields, he felt more agile as the spikes whizzed past him. When the test was done, he lasted exactly 20 seconds. With Quinn having confirmed his results, there was nothing left for him to do but head back to the dorm and wait for the next day to start. Meanwhile, Layla, who had stayed hidden this whole time, had seen everything. She couldn't understand why a student would hide his strength in school. A low power level meant that one would be targeted by others. Layla only had one thought while she looked at Quinn. Maybe there will be a use for him. She decided that from now on, she would keep a close eye on Quinn.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.